So what is kanban? And why should you care? Well, kanban helps us make the invisible visible. You know, in knowledge work, which software development is an example of, we don't have great warehouses of partially completed work product that we could trip over or point out is waste. As we know in lean thinking, inventory is waste. Work in progress is a waste. It delays getting product out. So rather than managing our inventory or work in progress because it's invisible, we've tended to manage the timelines. And unfortunately, it really is causing the real waste in our system to be hidden. So how do we resolve this? Well, first is, let's make the invisible visible. If the problem is our work in progress and managing the flow of work, then let's make that visible and start by first mapping out our workflow. Sometimes it's referred to as our value stream. How do we go from concept to cash? When we take a piece of work, what are the steps that we have to go through to deliver on that? So with Kanban, the first thing you ask is, what's our process? And let's map that out. Once we've accomplished that, we build a Kanban board. And all a Kanban board is just our process in the form of something that's visible that we can all see. So here's our process, backlogged, analyzed, implement, test. And we create a board to make it visible to everyone. Now, we have cards or icons or whatever you want, whether you're doing this electronically or physically doing this with paper and Post-it notes. We're able to have our work elements, our work items flowing across the Kanban boards. We have an item representing each work item, and it flows across that Kanban board. Our work is now visible. And by being visible, it can help us identify where the bottlenecks are. Now, just to make sure you clearly understand, this is just the first step. This is just making the invisible visible. We haven't quite gotten to the Kanban because there's a lot more pieces to it. But the first step is, can we make the invisible visible? Now, given that, what we'd really like to be able to do is not be in this reactive state, all of a sudden noticing, oh my goodness, there's a problem. It's how do we get into a position where we prevent the problem from happening altogether, or mitigate or reduce the potential for problems to occur? How can we use this Kanban board now, which has made our workflow visible, to optimize our workflow such that it minimizes the waste that we are creating? Because we can look at something and go, yeah, it's broke. Well, how do we prevent it from being broke in the first place? So rather than just showing us where the trouble points are, what can we do to prevent those, to mitigate or minimize the opportunity for problems occurring?